Welcome to How to Handle Objections in New Home Sales. Follow along with us and see how many strategies and tactics you can identify in overcoming objections in a new home sale. Say hello to our sales agent, Doug, and his customers, Jim and Janice. You see, Jim and Janice have been out looking at several homes over the last few months. They're looking for something really special, something with a private backyard. It appears they've landed on something that really has caught their interest. It seems to have everything they need, and it truly is one of a kind. However, Janice and Jim have some questions and some concerns. You see, Jim and Janice have never purchased a home, and they're a little fearful. Doug knows that it's time to enthusiastically ask for the sale. As it's very clear by the excitement between Jim and Janice that this is the one. As an experienced sales agent, Doug knows they can basically do one of three things. They can buy, object, or they can, of course, stall. Doug is getting some terrific buying signals. They're showing a lot of excitement. They're saying things like, "We know that the kids will love this house." And they're even beginning to place furniture in the rooms. And they're asking about upgrades that they can add to the home and when the home will be 100% complete. He can tell by their body language and their excitement that this is definitely the one. You see, Doug also knows he needs to create a sense of urgency when asking for the sale. One of the unique things about real estate is one of a kind, that no two are exactly alike, which really creates a unique urgency opportunity. After spending some time in the home with Jim and Janice, it becomes really clear to Doug that this is the perfect home for them, and he is completely ready to ask for the sale with much enthusiasm. He simply looks over to Jim and Janice and says, "Wow, I can tell by the reaction to this home that this is totally the home for you guys. Would you like to put a sold sign on it and make sure that we don't lose it to another buyer?" It's actually a great time to buy because you see we're at month's end and we're running a terrific promotion that includes a washer, dryer, and refrigerator as part of our move-in package. Doug has asked for the sale. The next step in the process is to stay completely silent. The next person that talks loses. As you're preparing for a response, gather your thoughts and prepare to cushion the response with a softening statement. "I completely understand and appreciate your concern." Doug has been in this situation many times before, and you see, he has a method for overcoming objections. It's really quite simple. You cushion and acknowledge, isolate and overcome. After a few moments, Jim and Janice respond. They tell Doug they absolutely love the house, but they're concerned about the privacy in the backyard, as the home backs up to several other homes behind it. Doug responds, "Do you remember earlier when we talked about your wish list and that there's no such thing as a perfect home? That you might find the perfect home, but you may have to settle or make a compromise? So I'm wondering, Jim, is this something that we might be able to compromise on, or is this a deal breaker?" After taking a moment to respond, Jim replies, "I'm sorry, Doug. I think this is a deal breaker for us." Doug gathers himself and responds with another softening statement. "Thank you for your honesty, and I understand your concern completely, but I have another thought I'd like to share. Regarding the privacy, I understand how you feel completely. I recently had a buyer on a similar home site that felt exactly the same way. But what he found was the home met 90% of his needs and wants. So we worked together and we came up with a pretty clever plan. You see, we sell these trees called Leland cypress trees, and they grow really fast and provide great privacy from house to house." He realized with the trees that his privacy was no longer a concern. So Doug suggests, "Why don't we go ahead and do the same for you?" Jim ponders for a moment and says, "Doug, I'm afraid I'm going to have to think about it." Doug responds, "No problem. I understand your hesitation. why don't we drive back to the model home? I have a great idea. We'll grab a cold drink, and at the model home what I can do is prepare a new home summary for you. The new home summary will give you complete detail of everything in the home. Jim responds, "That's a great idea, Doug." When Doug gets back to the model home, he gives Jim and Janice a full feature and benefit summary and prepares to ask for the sale again. After giving a full summary, Doug assumes the sale again by simply saying, "It's obvious you guys love this home. Why don't we go ahead and take it off the market?" After pondering for a moment, Janice and Jim respond, "Doug, I'm afraid that we're just not quite ready." Doug decides that it's time to go for the secondary commitment. He says to Jim and Janice, "Why don't we go ahead and schedule an appointment at the design center to pick up those options and upgrades you asked me about?" Jim and Janice agree and book an appointment for 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Doug prepares to make a final attempt to close the sale. "I've really enjoyed spending the last few hours with you, and I know you love this house, but I can't help but wonder if something is holding you back. Would you mind sharing? Is it the location, the home, or could it possibly be the money or the price?" "That's exactly it, Doug," says Jim. "You see, we actually love this house, but to be frank with you, it's really over our budget. As a matter of fact, it's about $10,000 over our budget, which would mean extra monthly and down payment." "Thank you, Jim. I sincerely appreciate you sharing that with me. Let me ask you a question. If I could get this home to fit into your budget, would you like to own it?" "Oh my gosh, Doug. We absolutely love this home. If you can figure out a way to do that, plus figure out a way to get the trees, then you have a deal."